Good day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Briareos Kerensky, and for this unboxing we are still in the past. Let's go back to a time when fantasy was not as prominent as it is today, and thus more bearable, with Record of Lodoss War Chronicle. What I have here is a collection of old and Japan-only Record of Lodoss War games published mostly on Japan-only PCs like the PC 9801, the X68000 or the better-known MSX. And the box itself recreates what, to my knowledge, is the third Record of Lodoss War game, Iron Witch or the Grey Witch, and this collection is by Project Egg or Engrossing Game Library, and this is, again, to my knowledge, their 19th physical release. They do have a digital launcher like sort of Steam, and they do have an English version of that, but I must be honest, I got to know them with this box. This was only sold on a Japan-only site called AC Mall, and I had to use an intermediary service to get it, called Tenso. But enough rambling for the introduction, let's take a look around the box. On the front cover there is an illustration of the main characters of, let's say, the first part of Record of Lodoss War, the title and the original developer. If we move to the spine, there is the title of the game and this kind of obi that reveals the Project Egg logo, as I said earlier, and on the back three screenshot trees that were already in vogue in 1998, and I think, because I've never saw PC games, Japanese PC games from this era, this is a pretty good reproduction of what would have been the original box, probably with a lot of floppy disks. I don't even know if 5 or 3 inches. But let's go back to the sort of obi that describes what's in this collection. You have 5 manuals, a game CD and 2 discs for the soundtracks. Down here, well, this is the price, the contents that I've just said, and the games you find here. You can see that there are X68000 and MSX2 games, as well as Super Famicom versions. And I am really curious to see if these are proper ports, meaning they run natively on Windows platforms, or they use some kind of emulator. I think it's the second, because I see that there is a lot of Visual C++, C++ frameworks to be installed, and hopefully I do already have them, and they run in UTF-8. But again, enough rambling. So let's take a look inside, and to open it you have to do this, and inside we have the manuals, game disc and the soundtracks. Let's start off with the game, and it's really a blast from the past seeing a compact disc with games on it. On the front cover we have the same illustration as seen as on the other box, the logo of this collection and the indication that this is indeed the game disc. Inside, what is on the disc and the instructions on how to use it, and the game disc itself that has a very simple front cover. Onto the two soundtrack CDs, and below the logo we see that volume 1 and 2 are for the PC 9801 version of the soundtracks, and I must be honest, I don't know if this covers all the games in the package or just the games that were published on this home computer. Let's see after this unboxing. So, see if there is a booklet. No, this is just a leaflet with the games that are just on these discs. 26 tracks from for the first, 27 to 41 for the other, and the disc 2 is 37 tracks. So, the soundtrack CDs are a bit more elaborate in their labels, as they are golden and silver. They could have gone with this metallized look for the game, but they didn't, unfortunately. Let's start with the manuals, and this is the first of 5, and I don't see any subtitles, so I think this is the manual for the very first record of Lodoss War game. And you see just its plain manual, record of Lodoss War, and if you can make it out, this is very 80s way of doing things, at least for logos in video games. It's printed on nice paper. It has a very slight yellowing, but I think this is due to the kind of paper they've used. It's not a cheap reproduction, I can tell you that for free. And there are no screenshots of... oh yeah, there are screenshots. So this is a top-down with sort of first-person dungeons, kind of... well, a kind of style that was in vogue back then. This is where not as powerful to render full-screen first-person views, even with if the movement was turn-based, like Wizardry. A note with quite an old illustration for the various Lodoss characters. Registration card, and nothing more. This is the second manual, and I hope you can make... oh yeah, it's also printed with slightly reflective silver. This is the spell book. I think this is still connected to the first game, the manual we've just seen. So this is the description of the game, of the spells, how much mana points they take. The paper is at the touch is very similar to the other one for the first manual, and this, of course, as you can see, has a very light yellow hue except for the last page. Or yeah, the hue on this page is not as prominent as on the others. And on the back We have the logo of Record of Lodoss War, as well as Hummingbird Soft, which I think are the original developers. Let's go back to a proper instruction booklet, at least judging from the front cover. This is from Record of Lodoss War 2, Goshoku no Ryuu. And on the front cover there is once again a simple illustration, playing manual, and on the back just what appears to be an angel, maybe? So paper, pretty much the same as the other manuals. Okay, these are NPCs. And I wonder if these illustrations have been done for this game or are taken from the light novels or the manga or whatever other type of media Lodoss War was on at the time. But again, then again, this looks like a pretty standard manual. Sorry. So the style is pretty much the same as the other one, top down and first person for dungeons in a window. Equipment, spell collection, most probably pretty much the same as the first game. And memo on, or probably this is a map grid. This is the fourth manual, and there is no indication of which Lodoss War game this is from. This is everything is about SwordWorldPC tabletop computer RPG operation manual. Quite the strange thing. Oh, MS-DOS instructions. Oh wow, check a kappa CHK disk, check disk, dir A, enter, oh god. Good thing we no longer had to deal with DOS. And if you ever tried to fit into those 640K of RAM drivers for the keyboard, for the mouse, for your sound card, for the CD-ROM, and leave enough space to start the program, you know why I'm glad we no longer have to deal with that. So this is once again top down. Let's see if the dungeons are still in first person and in a window. I thought that at least a manual would show like a wizardry clone, or at least a game that uses the wizardry system that for some reason Japanese players are still crazy about. Not that it's a bad system, it's just that, well, I don't quite understand why Japanese players are so enamored with it. FAQs. The fifth manual is not a manual but a map instead, and this map represents the island of Lodoss, with the names of the various regions written in English and highlighted in red. The map is not printed on standard paper, but it tries to reproduce parchment. There is a very finite texture that gives the impression of it being old or simply not paper. It is also not standard paper, but it almost feels rubberized. It is a very strange feeling to hold this in hand. I don't remember ever coming along this kind of material. Just like with the Suchepai limited edition I've previously unboxed, I've bought this record of Lodoss War Chronicle because this is an era of Japanese gaming I am completely oblivious about, so I thought it would be nice to see this through the lens of an anime tie-in, especially now that Record of Lodoss War sort of came back thanks to Diddly in Wonder Labyrinth. I will not call this a limited edition, although it was printed in limited numbers, and what's here is well done, although it covers, I think, only 3 games of all the collection. The soundtrack does not cover everything, and the manuals are, of course, for just 3 games, plus you have a nice map. Not exactly an edition rich in content, but what's in here is well done and very well pertinent to the subject matter. A first hour play will follow, and yes, I know I'm behind schedule because I still have to do the Suchepai first hour play, but I will do it, just in due time. In the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing and you'll stick around for more. Briareo Skerensky, over and out.